One banana at a time. A simple aim, but amidst the city that never sleeps, takes on a whole new meaning.
The very idea of someone distributing bananas in New York sends a pleasant surprise, doesn't it, Juan?
Absolutely, Nari. The uniqueness of it amidst the rush of Manhattan Starbucks and McDonald's TBQFH. I mean, whoever imagined a corporate lawyer would take to giving out bananas?
It's funny how a bright yellow banana could become such an integral part of a city's narrative.
It's like a ray of sunshine amongst the skyscrapers.
Or even like a lighthouse guiding ships through treacherous waters. A banana amidst the gray suits certainly stands out.
It's beyond just standing out, Nari. It's an instrument of change for the better. A small gesture that sparks joy, creates connections, and fosters a sense of community in this city of millions.
Who knew something as small as a banana could tackle the isolation of a big city?
It's not just any banana, though. It's Nancy's banana. She's become an institution of sorts, a beacon of kindness. We know Nancy as the banana lady, but who was she before all of this?
Ah, yes, the intriguing backstory. You wouldn't see it through that yellow mask, but she was, in fact, a corporate lawyer. Quite the contrast, right?
A lawyer, and then a banana lady. That's a plot twist even M. Night Shyamalan couldn't write up. I wonder what led her to make such a drastic shift.
That indeed is the essence of her story. The turning point which further stirs the intrigue.
And you'd mistake it for a screenplay. From amidst towering buildings and the jungle of cases, she takes a humble green turn towards bananas. What could have triggered such a lively transformation?
Perhaps she sought an escape from the mundane, or maybe she realized that human connection and a smile were lacking in the city's quotidian life. One way or the other, she traded her suits for a bag of bananas.
It's, as they say, New York changes you, but here we are witnessing how one woman changed New York. But I can't help but wonder, what's the backstory that propelled this tasty transformation?
Well, that, my friend, is something we'll uncover along the way. Just as every banana peel unfolds a sweet surprise, so does Nancy's life.
So she was a high-achieving corporate lawyer, and then somehow bananas.
It does sound rather fascinating. A world of contracts and corporate battles to a world centered around in small acts of kindness.
I know. One day she's in a legal courtroom, and the next she's standing on a New York City sidewalk with a bag of bananas.
Just thinking about it is a journey in itself. To leave behind the corporate titles, the worldly achievements, and then choose to find joy and purpose in simply giving out bananas.
Yes, but as a teacher, I've seen a lot of surprises in classrooms, students with immense potential turning towards careers that may not necessarily align with their academic prowess. But this tale, it's a different flavor altogether.
It's like Nancy chose social wellness over personal success. But again, one must wonder what led her to make this unconventional switch. Could her upbringing have fueled this altruistic endeavor?
Great point, Nari. Do we know anything about her family? Did she imbibe values of care and community orientation from them that led her down this path?
That's something we're keen to explore further. Our sources did mention that she has been a very empathizing person since her younger days, apparently, but more details would indeed offer a better understanding of her motivations.
I imagine a New York childhood to be a tapestry of skyscraper silhouettes, yellow cabs, and hot dog stands. But Nancy's childhood memories could offer a unique perspective on what shaped her humanitarian drive.
Absolutely. If she had some extraordinary experiences growing up in the city, they might have played a huge role in shaping her empathetic inclinations.
While we ponder those thoughts, let's take a short break. But don't go away, because when we come back, we'll leap right back into Nancy's inspiring journey. Imagine a typical New Yorker rushing to catch the subway, perhaps on a blustery winter day. Amidst all the hustle, they encounter a smiling woman handing out bananas.
Suddenly, amidst the rush of commuters, honking cars, and charging pedestrians, they find a moment in which they are acknowledged as an individual and not another face in the crowd.
Right, Nari. Nancy's touch of humanity is just the bright spot one needs in a bustling city. One such person is Alex, a software engineer who'd always start his day early to beat the peak-hour subway rush. He bumped into Nancy one snowy morning when his train was delayed, and he was already late to work. Nancy's cheerful greeting and a banana made Alex's day. He even saved the peel to remember the incident.
In a city where anonymity can often feel overwhelming, Nancy's bananas provide tiny islands of connection, like that of Sophia, a freelance writer, often working from coffee shops. She crossed paths with Nancy after a particularly rough day. Sophia couldn't help but smile when Nancy offered her a banana. In a scenario where she felt almost invisible, a simple act of kindness from a stranger lifted her spirits. She took to social media to share her encounter, bringing together hundreds of New Yorkers with their own banana lady stories.
It truly amazes me how Nancy has managed to weave together an organic banana network. Her small act of kindness, giving out bananas, has resonated across this city.
Absolutely, Juan. Amidst the city's roar, Nancy's silent kindness is like a lighthouse in unpredictable waters.
Do you think such acts evolve the definition of community, especially in an urban setup like the city of New York?
There's definitely a lot to think about there, Juan. Yet it all circles back to the essence of giving, bound in the kindness offered by the banana lady, Nancy.
It's incredible to see how Nancy's simple act has escalated into a drive of contagious benevolence throughout the city. Remember Alex and Sophia we spoke about? They took inspiration from Nancy to pay it forward on their own.
Right. Alex started placing inspiring quotes in his office's lift on sticky notes. He believes that his morning interaction with Nancy made him think about his community in a different way.
The small act of kindness can light up someone's day. In fact, Sophia started sharing her knowledge about freelance writing pro bono with budding writers. She credits her drive to help others to Nancy.
What's interesting is how Nancy's actions are triggering a domino effect of compassionate gestures, don't you think?
Absolutely. It's almost as though Nancy's benevolence is subtly redefining the norms of interaction within the NYC community. And it's not just about paying it forward, but also about expressing a sense of gratitude. A thank you can make a huge difference.
This ripple effect of kindness generated by Nancy is indeed a heartwarming representation of the New York community. It reflects how people are taking their moments of joy, spreading them around in their unique ways, thereby changing the atmosphere of the city, one banana at a time.
Think about the energy of New York City for a moment. It hums with vitality, its pace rapid, brims with the ebb and flow of countless aspirations.
True, Juan. Often dubbed as the city that never sleeps, it presents its own set of unique challenges. With constant hustling, it can be quite difficult for folks to pause, observe, or even smile.
Exactly, that's precisely where the brilliance of Nancy comes in. Amidst this chaotic pace, our banana lady appears like a breath of fresh air. The premise of her act is far too simple, though, isn't it?
Undeniably so, Juan. In a world currently measured by KPIs and social media influence, she chooses a bunch of bananas. And yet, she gets it done, brings about an incredible shift in the momentum of life around her. It's not just a simple act anymore, it's a symbol.
A symbol indeed. It's not just handing out fruit, it's about delivering moments of connection and building a community. So, Nari, can an act as simple as this forge a sense of bonding in a city as spacious and frenetic as New York?
Given what we've heard so far about Nancy, Juan, I'd think so. A small act of kindness might seem like a single drop in an ocean, but collectively, it can create waves. Similar to the martial arts principle, every small move counts, every generous act matters.
I guess it brings into focus the power of human warmth and interaction. At the heart of this concrete jungle, Nancy has created an oasis, where each banana acts as a tiny bridge between strangers, momentarily bonding them. Don't you think?
Definitely. It might seem ironic that a fleeting interaction centered around something as mundane as a banana could resonate so deeply within people. But isn't it these basic acts of generosity, undeterred by language or culture, that truly help weave a social tapestry?
Nari, isn't it remarkable how Nancy's modest act has unified various corners of this sprawling metropolis?
Yes, Juan. Personal stories of borrowed smiles and unexpected kindness suggests that her bananas are more than just snacks in the rat race. They echo connection, become tokens of shared humanity.
So you're saying her action is helping New Yorkers forge community strings in the middle of their packed schedules?
Absolutely, Juan. As someone who values the principles of Buddhism, I believe the smallest acts of love can foster harmony and community feeling. The way Nancy is spreading positivity and the unspoken joy she gives with a banana, it's shaping a chain of goodwill among complete strangers.
Interesting that you mention that. Not being a native New Yorker myself, I've often felt the bristling energy of this city can sometimes isolate its residents. It's almost paradoxical that we're closest physically in crowded spaces like the subway or the streets, yet can be miles apart emotionally.
That is true, Juan. I think Nancy's simple act is striking a chord in this paradox. It's providing people a pause, igniting momentary connections, and fostering a sense of community.
Her unique initiative seems to have created not only a ripple of kindness, but also a wave of unity. As we've seen, the stories of recipients often end with them passing on their gifted banana to another soul in the city's hustle-bustle. But I wonder, Nari, what the city's regulatory bodies make of all this.
That's an intriguing question, Juan. While I don't have a clear idea about the specific rules in New York, it certainly makes me ponder about the implications of her initiative in the eyes of law enforcement. Would they see her act as a threat to public health? Or would Nancy's notable objective and the positivity that it spreads supersede any regulatory concerns?
What if we take a more global view, Nari? I'm curious how Nancy's case fits into the larger context. How does New York compare to other major global metropolitans like your hometown Busan, or more transient cities like Amsterdam or Dubai?
Well, Juan, that's certainly an interesting perspective. Each city has its own distinct vibe and ways to foster community spirit amidst its own chaos, right?
Absolutely. Take Amsterdam, for example. As a former trading hub, its culture and community spirit are epitomized by their gezelligheid, a Dutch term that loosely translates to a convivial or cozy togetherness. There are buurthuizen, or neighborhood community centers, where locals gather to share meals, chit-chat, or organize social activities.
That sounds pretty similar to the community spirit in Busan. We have communal spaces called madang, inspired by traditional Korean courtyard spaces where residents gather to talk, share food, or simply enjoy each other's company. I would say these local customs are reminiscent of Nancy's initiative in distributing bananas. It's all about creating spaces for connection, albeit in different forms.
I can see how these communal spaces provide respite from the hustle and bustle of city life. Yet cities like Dubai, with a predominantly transient population, community building must indeed be a challenge. High mobility might seem as a barrier to forming lasting bonds, but it might also provide unique opportunities for cultural exchange and bonding.
Certainly, Juan. Dubai's expat scene, for example, has resulted in the emergence of various shared interest communities, be it sports clubs, cultural societies, or volunteering groups. Despite the constant flux, these shared interests lay the groundwork for friendships and foster a sense of belonging. In a way, similar to the unity that Nancy's bananas have fostered in New York.
Such disparate approaches to fostering community. It's indeed human ingenuity at its best. Be it the gezelligheid of Amsterdam, the madang culture of Busan, Dubai's shared interest communities, or Nancy's gracious gesture of distributing bananas, each city carves out its own unique methods to maintain its community spirit. From a simple fruit to a fountain of smiles. Can you imagine the transformation, Nari?
Indeed, it's an extraordinary journey. That ordinary banana resting on a grocery store aisle is probably not even aware of the extraordinary roles it's about to perform.
Well, first it has to pique the interest of Nancy, our banana lady, right?
Absolutely. Nancy selects the banana. She carries it home out through the skies, crowds, bustles of the city, safely placing it among the other bananas she's bought.
Then comes the next step. I've heard Nancy has let's call it a banana ritual. She takes one banana at a time, observes it, feels its weight in her palm. Then, with a marker, she scribbles her daily encouragement on its skin.
It's not just a banana anymore. It's a tiny canvas carrying a big message, a catalyst connecting souls, a bridge connecting the hearts of New York.
That's so beautifully put, Nari. But the journey doesn't end there.
Yes, the banana, with its new identity, is ready to venture back into the city. Nancy, our banana lady, then carries it back into the heart of the city, into the hands of passersby and fellow New Yorkers.
And in that exchange, something else happens, doesn't it? That's not just a handoff of a piece of fruit, it's a handoff of a moment, a memory, a smile, a connection. That's what gives that banana its real value.
Indeed, Juan. The humble banana in its journey becomes a symbol of kindness, a breaker of barriers, a facilitator of human connection in this global city. An average fruit transforming into a brilliant gem. It's a truly extraordinary tale.
The power of a banana, eh?
That's right, Juan. It's not just a banana. It's a source of inspiration, a tiny spark igniting a huge flame of positivity and connection. Can you even fathom the impact of those little scribbles?
Makes you think, doesn't it? Nancy must have written thousands of messages by now, each one unique, providing a little light in the daily hustle of New York.
And imagine the multitude of feelings invoked by those inscriptions. Valerie, a schoolteacher, talked of receiving a banana with the words, "Believe in yourself." She said it motivated her to approach her school administration with an innovative teaching proposal she'd been sitting on due to self-doubt.
Wow, that's truly inspiring. Really puts into perspective the potential power these banana messages hold. Imagine the kind of impact that little scribble had on Valerie's life, and in turn possibly on many of her students' lives as well. Incredible.
Absolutely, Juan. That tiny inscription on a banana peel opened up a new chapter in Valerie's life, and Nancy may not even know about it. Similarly, many New Yorkers have had their world brightened by these bananas of wisdom. Even objects as mundane as bananas can become symbols of hope when used intuitively.
The depth of this narrative lies in those humble bananas. If done with unconditional love, even a small thing can change lives. This almost makes me think of our city in a new light. I wonder what other stories such benign acts of love are etching on the hearts of New Yorkers. On a more serious note, Nari, it strikes me how Nancy humbly carries on with her banana distribution. I mean the perseverance, it's quite extraordinary. What do you think it is at the core of her motivation?
Juan, that's indeed worth pondering over. It's unusual to find such selflessness in the cutthroat corporate world which Nancy was accustomed to.
You're right, Nari. It's like a huge shift for her, isn't it? How does a corporate lawyer command the courage to leave her comfort zone to make complete strangers smile? Do you think it could be her desire to contribute to the community, especially since she was part of this fast-paced corporate world, and she might have felt the need to slow down and add this human touch?
That's an interesting hypothesis, Juan. Perhaps coming from the corporate world herself, she's seen the toll it takes and understands the value of a simple act of kindness. Nancy's magnanimity can be her reaction to the depersonalization she saw in the corporate world. It's a sort of defiance, perhaps.
It's certainly a defiance, Nari, an open-hearted revolt against the mundane, a rebellion of kindness. At the same time, we can't overlook the spiritual aspect of it. Maybe the act of giving might be fulfilling in and of itself, driving her to continue despite struggles or the bizarre looks she gets.
Exactly, Juan. Ancient Buddhist texts tell us that giving brings happiness and satisfaction. Nancy's actions might be a testament to this wisdom. Combining compassion with defiance, Nancy makes the streets of New York smile, one banana at a time.
So from what we know, Nancy's act of giving bananas, it sparked a ripple effect in the community. It's fascinating.
Agreed. She's almost lit a spark of community contribution. Do you have any specific incidents in mind?
I do, in fact. There's this case of a frequent recipient of Nancy's bananas, Olivia, a graphic designer, I believe. She was so inspired by the banana lady that she started a social media hashtag, #YasoShareYourLunch, encouraging New Yorkers to share their meal with a stranger at least once a week. All because of a banana.
What a positive change. That's incredible. Makes me wonder what else this single act of Nancy's has sparked. Are there more such stories?
I'm glad you asked. There are stories, Nari, stories of how everyday citizens turned into mini-philanthropists. A man named Felix, he used to get bananas from Nancy on his way to work. He was inspired and started making 2 sandwiches every day, one for himself and one for a stranger. Says Nancy reminded him of the importance of giving, no matter how small.
Juan, isn't it astonishing that one woman's simple act has encouraged such communal behaviors? But why do you think people respond this way to Nancy's act?
Well, I think people inherently appreciate kindness, don't they? We live in a world where sometimes a simple act of humanity begets smiles and encouragement, and Nancy serves as that beacon of hope in an otherwise fast-paced world. Her actions remind us of the language we all understand: kindness. Maybe that's what prompts others to pay it forward too.
Could be, Juan. The beauty of her act lies in its simplicity. No grand gestures, no pricey gifts, just a humble banana with words of encouragement. And yet, it fosters a sense of community and goodwill that endears her to so many. It's extremely heartening, isn't it?
This all begs the question, doesn't it, Nari? Given our increasingly digital world, where does a physical act of kindness like Nancy's fit in?
It's interesting, Juan. I feel social media, fast-paced living, and technology have imparted a certain remoteness to our human interactions. Maybe that's why such physical gestures stand out. They're a reminder of our human capacity to connect and empathize on a personal level.
Yeah, real-life interactions have a unique essence and impact of their own. Maybe that's the magic of Nancy's bananas.
I believe so. And it reminds us of our innate need for genuine human interaction. Nancy's act of giving a banana doesn't just feed someone. It also sparks a connection, don't you think, Juan?
Definitely. And these connections formed on streets, they hold a weight of their own. Against the backdrop of a city that's always on the run, these small gestures of kindness, they certainly make an impact.
What Nancy achieves with her bananas is truly commendable, reminding us that amid our digitalized living, we are still creatures of emotion and empathy. Her act taps into our deeper-lying needs for connection and human interaction.
True, Nari. And such reminders are probably more necessary today than ever. In our quest for digital connectivity, perhaps what we are losing is not Wi-Fi signals, but humanity itself. And isn't it paradoxical that Nancy counters this with something as simple as a banana, a handwritten message, and a warm smile?
Yes, Juan, it's like a ray of light reminding us of the power of human connections, the value of interactions that can't be texted or tweeted. These simple acts are important for holding our society together, reminding us of the beautiful tapestry we all are a part of. As the world progresses, maybe we need more acts of kindness like Nancy's. It's like a silver lining in the cloud of digitization.
So we've mentioned the story, the communities formed, and the impact. But one thing that hasn't come up is, how does the banana operation work exactly?
That's a great point, Juan. I mean, where does she get the bananas from? How does she finance them? The logistics must be fairly well organized.
Exactly. After all, being big-hearted also means taking on bigger logistical battles. As glamorous as the idea might seem, the behind-the-scenes work is much less so, I would assume.
Her altruism certainly doesn't seem like a typical 9-to-5 gig. Considering the effort it must take, the commitment is commendable. Plus, the fact that there's a lot of physical labor involved, too. She has to get the bananas, inscribe the messages, and distribute them every day.
And here we find ourselves. Back at mathematics, let's say she gives out around 200 bananas a day. That's over 1,000 a week.
Not to mention the resources needed for transportation or the time she would need to invest. It's also plausible she has arranged some support system to keep her operations running smoothly.
Right? And while we don't have the exact numbers, one can imagine the kind of financial backing required to keep such a unique service in motion. It's not like bananas grow on trees.
Well, technically they do, but not in downtown Manhattan. I believe it underlines her ardent commitment to the cause and the length she's willing to go to for it.
So, Nari, what do you think is the future of Nancy's unique banana quest?
Well, Juan, given Nancy's determination, I don't see her slowing down anytime soon. But her story has garnered much attention. Perhaps more people will be inspired to do their part in making the city a happier place.
It's indeed inspiring. But New York is a huge city. Distributing bananas single-handedly has its limits. Do you think she might involve more people in her mission?
That's an interesting thought, Juan. Involving more people can certainly expand her reach, but it also depends on whether she wants to keep this as a personal initiative or grow it into a community effort. only Nancy can answer that.
True. And the impact would differ as well. A one-woman show has its charm, as does a community movement.
Either way, I believe her actions have started a ripple effect. Who knows? Maybe there are others out there already following in her footsteps in their own unique ways.
That's a beautiful thought, Nari. The way one person's act of kindness can inspire so many. And even if it doesn't turn into a community-wide movement, it's enough for the individuals on the receiving end of her bananas.
Absolutely. It's those powerful personal encounters that create radiating change, even if it's one banana at a time.
The whole thing gives a new meaning to an apple a day keeps the doctor away. In this case, it's a banana.
And the doctor in question is probably stress or loneliness. But it's a nice twist to the saying, isn't it?